Christmas markets get hyped every year, but what's it actually like to visit them in Europe?
Today, I'm sharing how I used points and miles to book a dream trip to the Christmas markets in Germany and Switzerland.
We'll walk through flights, hotels, and the routes that make this trip a lot easier than most people think.
If Europe is on your travel wish list, this episode will show you how points and miles can get you there.
Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to the Upgraded Points Podcast.
And I'm Katie, and today we are talking all about my trip to the Christmas markets in Europe, so it's going to be a fun one. And we also have some really cool Hilton news. Before we get to that, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you have questions or comments for us, you can email us at podcast@upgradedpoints.com. So let's start with this Hilton news. This was really cool. I'm excited about this. What's going on with that one, Chris?
So Hilton has teamed up with Explorer Journeys, and this is a luxury cruise line that's part of MSC. So many of us are already familiar with MSC. And what's happening in summer 2026, Hilton members will be able to earn and redeem points on these sailings and receive, select onboard perks. There's also a preview offer going on right now. So through June 7th, which includes 100,000 Hilton Honors bonus points per suite. So if you book a suite in one of these, boutique cruises, you get 100,000 points, up to $400 in journey experience credits on 16 of the highlighted itineraries, and an exclusive in-suite welcome gift. So for all you cruisers out there, all you points lovers out there, this is a nice little partnership that could help you earn some bonus points.
Yeah, I wonder if you can earn elite night credits too. I didn't see that in the opening news. Did you read anything about that?
I didn't see that either. I'm sure that this is going to be more details going to be rolling out. I'm excited to see maybe what the perks look like for Hilton Diamond members like us, or this new Hilton Diamond Reserve status. See what's coming out later this year.
Yeah. This reminds me a little bit of the Hyatt Lindblad partnership from a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for this new opportunity. It should be good.
Yeah, these partnerships make sense, so that's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, let's set the scene, Katie. We got the cold air, the warm lights, the mulled wine, and cobblestone streets lined with delicious snacks. European Christmas markets are a whole vibe. And you just got back, and I want to hear all about it.
I did. It was an awesome trip. I went with a friend she had been going for the last few years with her husband, and he kind of finally just said, like, I'm done. I've been to enough of these.
Enough mulled wine.
She asked me if I wanted to go, and of course I said absolutely. So this was a fun trip to plan. She only had Delta Miles and Chase Ultimate Rewards points. So those were the points that I was working with, which made the parameters of booking this trip a little bit more difficult, but
a challenge.
A little bit of a challenge, because I couldn't access some partners, but I did it. I booked the whole thing on points, hotels, and flights. So let's go through how I did this and whether or not you want to actually visit the Christmas markets or just go to Europe. A lot of these same things that I did will apply to a trip that you can do on your own. So I flew from Chicago to Frankfurt, and that was on Lufthansa business class. I booked it through Air Canada for 70,000 points and $57. So
that's
solid.
As good as it gets, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. No complaints. The cool thing, though, it was on the upper level of a 747. And I've never flown that before. So that was a real
way to start
treat.
A trip.
Yeah. Well, actually, before I even got to the upper level, we visited the United Polaris Lounge in Chicago. Wow, it was really nice. It was not crowded when we got there, which was really fantastic. But we went, if you haven't been there, or if you have been there, go to the back and there's the sit-down dining, it's a restaurant in the lounge, and the food was fantastic. The service was wonderful. It was just a really, really nice way to start the trip. So we did that.
Great lounges.
Yeah. This is only the second time I've been in a Polaris lounge, and I really like that sit-down dining. That's a nice great way.
That's a nice feature. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the first Polaris lounge. I think it just went through a big renovation or refresh, so it must have been looking pretty good.
It looked really nice. All of their, I was noticing all the decor, and I'm like, oh, I really like this. And then there was a sign that said, like, "It's all in partnership with Crate& Barrel," which is, like,
Okay.
my favorite
There.
store. So, all of their, like, trinkets on the shelves and their mugs and everything in the dining was all Crate& Barrel, so it was very kind of a cool modern feel. It was really, really nice. So that was a great way to start. We got on the plane, first time ever walking upstairs on a plane. So I was totally geeking out. I was just
Oh yeah.
like, "Oh, this is so exciting." It's a really fun experience to go upstairs on a plane. So, the cabin itself was very open, like this, and it was like a tutu setup. So it was not the privacy that you might think of when you're thinking business class. It was a very open feel, but on that upper level, there was something going on that made it feel like what I would think kind of flying semi-private might be. Like, it just had a really cool vibe. I really liked it. Um, flight attendants were really nice. The seats were comfortable. It was one where, like, if you were flying on your own, it wouldn't be ideal because it's a 2-2, so much better
Mhm.
if you're flying with someone you know.
Sure.
Otherwise, and it didn't even really have the partition like where you can put that up if you're in the middle and you're flying next to someone you don't know. A lot of places will have that partition. This did not. So it was all just, hello, everyone's in the same cabin. Um, but, comfortable. It was a good flight. It was that flight that, leaves around like I think 4:30 from the East Coast or from Chicago, I guess not technically the East Coast, but like you're not quite tired enough to sleep. So
Yeah.
I laid
So what
down
time did you
for
land?
we landed at 6 a.m. Frankfurt time, something like that. So it's when you
Yeah.
want to go to sleep is when you're landing.
Sure.
So I tried to take a nap a little bit. It didn't work very well. So I was pretty tired when I landed, but the one thing that we did that helped was Lufthansa has an arrivals lounge in Frankfurt. So we went there. It took us a while to find it. We did a few laps, but we finally found it. We went there. We had showers. We sat down. We ate some food. We got some coffee, and it was a nice way to start before leaving the airport. Like, just taking a shower makes you feel so
Oh
refreshed.
yeah.
Getting a coffee, because we
Mhm.
weren't sure, at that time if you're going to be able to check in or not. And I've been in that situation where you get to the hotel and they're like,
Yeah.
"Nah." And so you're
So
just like,
sorry.
yeah, you're just like wandering around Europe tired and unshowered and not happy with the situation. So that was a really nice touch. I really enjoyed that. We stayed at the Kimpton in Frankfurt, and this was my first booking through the Edit by Chase.
Oh, okay.
So I was excited to try it out. And I had originally booked this and before I had access to that $250 credit. In what it was October, I think, is when that switched over.
Yeah.
So I had just booked it using Chase points through the Edit, and it was points boost, so it was 2 cents per point, and it worked out way better than booking it through IHG. So that was a great deal. But then at the last minute, maybe a week before the trip, I looked again, and they did have the base level room available because it was not available before. So I had the $250 credit and the base level room was available. So I was able to cancel my original booking, and then rebook it. I paid $250 in cash, which then I got back as a statement credit and then the rest in points. So I ended up spending like just over 37,000 points and then that $250 credit, which I was really happy with.
That's awesome. For how many nights? 2 nights?
That was 2 nights. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was all 2 cents per point, which great. I'll do that
And
all
that
day long.
was I think that was before the secret password from Kimpton, right?
It was, yeah, it was.
Okay.
But I probably wouldn't have said it anyways. 'Cause
Just slip a
especially, like,
note.
in another like, I don't I mean, they
Oh
speak
yeah, you
English,
should have
but
learned it
I
in German.
yeah, so I didn't do that. So the craziest thing happened at this hotel. I'll put up some videos of the hotels and everything I'm talking about on YouTube. So if you're listening, head over to YouTube for some videos and photos if you're interested in any of these places. And the hotel itself was really nice, pretty modern. The decor in the rooms was kind of weird. Like, it was a very primary color, like it felt like they were going for, like, elevated dorm room style.
Okay.
Like, and the bathroom had that dorm room vibe. It was a little weird. So, I don't know. It was modern, but just like a hair off. I couldn't quite
Okay.
put my finger on it. But, I mean, really no complaints. It was a comfortable room. So, I was in my room. We were able to check in, then we went out for a bit, then we came back to take just, a rest before we headed out to the Christmas markets in the evening. And so I'm laying there, I'm talking to my husband on the phone, and I hear a noise. And it's the loudest noise I've ever heard in a hotel room ever. It sounded like they were jackhammering, like, from the next room. So I'm outside looking and I see a construction crew and there's obviously construction happening, but it's beyond just you can hear construction outside. I would have bet money they were in the next room. So and like it's loud enough where I couldn't hear my husband on the phone. So I called downstairs and I was like, "This is ridiculous." And she's trying to tell me, she's like, "Well, it's during daytime hours and they're allowed to." I'm like, "I get that. I understand, but this is beyond that." So long story short, I ended up getting moved to the first room they tried to move me to was just as loud. And then they finally
Yikes.
moved me to another room and they had upgraded me to a studio suite. And I could still hear the noise, but it was tolerable. It was within like the reasonable like construction is happening on the street.
Mhm.
Um, and so and the person who was helping me was very apologetic and very nice and, it ended up being just fine. The thing that struck me though is I booked through the edit, and when you do that, you're supposed to get an upgrade if one is available. Obviously, an upgrade was available because I ended up in this studio suite for the
Right?
2 nights I was there.
I know.
I was like, "Well, you didn't upgrade me when I'm booked through the platform that I'm supposed to get an upgrade to." So that was a little like, really, it's not a big deal, but it was one of those things that just kinda made me think, "Hmm, okay."
Mhm.
And there was another incident with the front desk and my friend, they were giving her trouble. So we had a few kind of bad vibes
Jeez.
about the hotel, but not quite. Like if you have IHG points and you want to stay there, it was a nice place, a decent location. Really no complaints except for the
Except
noise
for all
and
those complaints.
except for all of those complaints, no complaints. I don't want to make it sound worse than it actually was because it really wasn't bad. It was comfortable. The bed was really comfortable. So it was fine.
Uh, all right. Well, let's move on to I'm assuming something a little bit more enjoyable. You made it to the markets in Frankfurt?
We did, and those were actually better than I was expecting. I wasn't expecting much from the Frankfurt markets because it's a bigger city and you kinda think that those are gonna be very bland and commercialized, and really, I really enjoyed the markets in the old town, with the buildings in there, that main square. It was just a gorgeous backdrop. You had the lights and the hot cider or the mulled wine, and it was just really, really special. And then the next day, we actually took a train up to Cologne, which was just about an hour away or so, and did the markets there. And those ended up being my favorite. Absolutely
Okay.
loved it. When you get off the train station, there's a huge, like, really, like, the most gothic looking church I've ever seen in my life. And it just made a gorgeous background. And there was, so that was the main market. And we went to another one that was kind of, I forget the name in German, but it was kind of a gnome market. And that was my favorite of the entire trip. It was just good food, good vibes, really good shopping, just, I loved it. So the Cologne markets, if you were going on a Christmas market trip in Germany, check out Cologne. Don't leave that one off your
Okay.
list.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. Where was the next stop on your tour?
So next we took the train to Stuttgart, I think is how you pronounce it, even though I've been calling it Stuttgart as with my American accent.
Okay. Well,
And we stayed at the Le Meridien there. I used Marriott 50 night or 50K free night cert for this stay. The cost for the 3 nights would have been about $830 or 124,000 Marriott points. So I didn't completely maximize those certs
mhm.
because they were good for up to 50K, but it was decent.
I
I
know.
had the certificates, I needed to use them, so it worked out fine. Um, and that hotel is really pretty close to the train station. However, there's a ton of construction. So the way you have to get there, because we walked, um, is involving a lot of stairs. So you walk through kind of either a park area or through some little sidewalks, it's fine, but then there's a ton of stairs to get up into the hotel. So if you were
Mm,
traveling with heavy luggage that you can't lift, or if you have any type of mobility issue or anything, just get in a cab because you're going to be miserable getting up those stairs. So keep that in mind. The hotel itself felt very. I had mentioned to my friend that the lobby felt like a very old-fashioned way that luxury hotels felt, like, kinda dark, it just
okay.
had a
It
vibe.
was nice.
Really
A good
nice, and
vibe?
it
Okay.
was fu it had, like, an old school luxury hotel vibe that, like, they hadn't really modernized it, but it was still very
Okay.
nice, like, really no
Mhm.
complaints about that hotel. We ate one time in the restaurant, the food was really good. I do have one complaint about that hotel, and this is just a me thing. I didn't have a coffee maker. No coffee maker. I was
Interesting.
not happy. Um,
But
it's a
all your
small
other European trips, you've had coffee
every
makers?
time,
It's
there's always an
okay.
espresso. So, I don't know, it might have been a
Okay.
fluke, maybe the last person broke it and I just got that room. Keep that in mind. So we used, Stuttgart as the place where we based ourselves for the markets there. Then we did a day trip to Esslingen and then another day trip to Heidelberg. The Stuttgart markets, I really liked. It actually had our overall favorite food that we ate the whole time,
Ooh,
and it was
what was
like
it?
I forget what the name is, but it's basically like a little like the most delicious pizza crust ever with like cheese and herbs and diced potatoes. And that sounds like it would be way too heavy. It was spectacular. We
Okay.
got one and split, like, when we first got there as a snack, and later that night, when we were deciding what we were gonna get for dinner, we're like, "We could go back and get one of those." So we ended up going back to the same stand and getting the same thing, and, like, we each got our
Love
own
it.
because it was so good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we really enjoyed that. And the Esslingen market, it's just a small town. I think it took 15 minutes on by train. That one was really neat because it felt way less popular with tourists. I don't think
Mhm.
we heard maybe 2 other Americans, American accents while we were there. Whereas in these other markets, they can be touristy and there's people from everywhere. The Esslingen one felt more local. I heard 2 Americans, and I enjoyed that. It felt just a little bit different. A much smaller town, so it had a different vibe. Really cute. Some nice shopping there. We stopped for lunch at another place just there and had some good food and watched the Christmas markets out the window, so that was a really nice town, I enjoyed that. And then we ended up in Heidelberg for our 3rd day there. We were supposed to go to Strasbourg in France, which was, like, my number 1, "I wanna go there on this trip,"
Mhm.
and there was a train strike in France.
Oh, no.
And so we could not get there, and we were even trying to, like, swap around our schedule to move it a day or 2, and it was not working out, and I was so disappointed. I
Oh,
have been screwed by train strikes so many times in
really?
Europe, and it's just like, yeah, the last, I think, 3 trips I've had have had something messed up because of a train strike. So keep that in mind. It ended up being fine.
Yeah.
I got over it, and we're like, "You know what? We have to pivot. We can't go there." So we ended up going to Heidelberg. And I had actually visited Heidelberg in June when I was there with my husband, and I really loved it. It's a cool town, college town. So it feels very urban and modern, but you've got the castle up kind of looming over. You've got some old school like German architecture. It's a really neat town. I was disappointed with the Christmas markets though. They
Oh,
were small. They felt like nothing special about them. Maybe some of that was just because I was a little disappointed it wasn't France. They did have a really cute
yeah.
Christmas mug, so I'll give them that. Um, It ended up being fine. I really like the town itself, and I would absolutely recommend going if you're just going to Germany. Um, it's got sort of a main pedestrian walkway with tons of restaurants and shopping. You can walk all the way down and then go up to the castle. It's just a really neat town. Christmas markets were kind of medium.
Okay. Well, That was a good start, but I think they still have some more. But before we dive into Switzerland and how you got back
Hmm.
in Swiss business class, let's take a break and then we'll check back with you. All right, welcome back. Now we're going to dive into some Switzerland Christmas markets and how Katie flew back to the US in Swiss business class. Let's hear it, Katie.
Yeah. We took the train over to Zurich and we stayed one night there. And I stayed at the Park Hyatt. And I had stayed at that hotel a couple years ago and I loved it. So stayed there again. I booked on points.
Nice.
It was
How many points?
35,000 points for one night. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's high, but the cash
For a
cost
park hide?
for that base level room was like $966. It's not
That is
cheap.
money well spent, or
It's a
points well spent.
Points well spent. And it was last year, or 2 years ago when we booked, we were just in that base level room that you book with the points, and it's a really spacious room, especially for Europe, but there's plenty of space to walk around if you're booking that with points. I did use a suite upgrade award, to get into a suite. I had originally not
Okay.
planned on that because it's kinda silly to use it for one night for one person, but I
Mm,
had it attached to a different, stay that my husband and I were gonna do in February, and we ended up canceling that for a lot of reasons, and it was expiring, and I had no other way to use it, so I was like, "You know what? Forget it." So
okay.
I upgraded myself to a suite. It was a beautiful room, really spacious. I had an extra half bath, which was completely unnecessary, but it always is fun. They left a little chocolate Santa for me with like oranges and nuts because it was St.
Oh,
Nicholas Day, which is
nice.
that's a thing over there. And it was a really good chocolate Santa that my husband ended up eating the whole thing before my daughter and I could get to it. So, it caused a little controversy in our house,
You
the
have to
other
go
night.
back.
Yeah, so Park Hyatt Zurich, if you're listening, I need another chocolate Santa. Anyways, great value. A really nice location. It's really easy to walk from the Park Hyatt to Old Town, which is where all of the cool shopping and the restaurants and all the river's right there and Lake Zurich is right there. It's just, I mean, maybe a few minutes walk to Lake Zurich, so you can walk around there. I just really like that place. So from Zurich, we did the train station actually has a Christmas market right inside of the train station, which was
Awesome.
so cool. Like you walk out and there's
Switzerland
like
is amazing.
it really is. There was this gorgeous tree in the middle of the train station and like a full on Christmas market with all the booths, all the food. And at first, I'm like, I'm not going to sit and eat in the middle of the train station. And then I saw the raclette booth and I was like, well, now I'm going to eat
Oh,
cheese
yeah.
in the middle of the train station. And it was divine. So that was really fun to do just, right after we get out of the train. Um, we took and dropped our luggage off and then went to a couple of the other markets. And there was one right by Lake Zurich and then one sort of more into Old Town and it kind of meandered through some of the back streets. So you thought the Christmas market was over and then there'd be a few more booths and then a few more. And it was really nice just to walk back because I
Nice.
mean, at any time of the year, that spot in Zurich is just cool. Those hilly little cobblestone streets, and then you can see the river. Really cool. I enjoyed it. I really liked the markets. I will say I was kind of over it by that point. This was day 6 of
Okay.
like nothing but Christmas markets.
Sure.
And as much as I absolutely loved them, it's a lot. My advice would be if you have the time and you are planning a Christmas market trip, plan like a day in the middle where you do something that has nothing to do with Christmas markets. Because after doing them day and day and day, they all kind of start mushing together. Like they're all kind of similar, but they all have their own vibe. But after a few days, you're kind of like, I need to just do something else
Yeah.
for a day. So
Makes
in
sense.
hindsight, I think I would have done that. So if you are planning a trip,
A
pack
little
little
palate
buffer,
cleanser in there.
a little palate cleanser. Exactly. Oh, one of the cool things in Zurich, they had this thing called the singing Christmas tree. And it was what it ended up being was like a place for a choir to perform, but they had the bleachers like in a triangle shape. And then they all wore little green capes with little red hats. So when the choir got up in this stand, it looked like a big Christmas tree that was singing. And so we
Oh, that's
stopped. They
awesome.
happened to be they were, performing a couple times a day. They have different choirs come in. There was a whole, schedule, and so we were able to see one of the shows. I didn't realize this till the end that we happened to be there on, like, the Disney song weekend, so you should have been there,
Oh,
Chris.
I would have loved that.
Like, I was all ready. I'm like, "Jingle bells, snowman, let's go." And they start singing Disney songs. I'm like, "What is this?" Like, it was fun. Like, they were good. It was entertaining, and
I
it
would
was
have.
so cute. But I was really looking for some, like, solid, like, Christmas songs. But
I get you.
it was a really cool setup, just a really neat experience. So I'm glad I got to try that.
Nice. And do you know what you call or what you give a singing Christmas tree with bad breath?
I don't, Chris. What?
An ornament. Ba-dum-dum.
Gonna be here all week, folks.
Ornament, folks. Okay.
Nice, nice.
Well,
Okay, let's
I'll be
move
here
on.
all until the end of this episode.
We've lost
Well, let's
everyone now.
everyone just look at our alarm numbers just dropping. We're alive, folks. All right, fine. Let's
Ah,
get to the good stuff,
yeah.
Katie. How did you get home from Zurich?
I got home in Swiss business class, and the only reason we were in Zurich is because I found this flight. When I booked this trip, we had no concept of where we were gonna go. It was all
Okay.
dictated by the flights that I could find, and I
Just
found
like your Bangkok flight.
exactly, yeah, same situation. So I found the flight, so we're like, "We're going to Zurich." So Swiss Air Business, or I guess it's a Swiss, it's not Swiss Air anymore, is it? So Swiss business class, booked via Air Canada again, only 60,000 points and $113. I was
Nice.
very pleased with that. This was my first time flying Swiss, and I had actually just, after I flew it, I looked online and there were actually some bad reviews for Swiss business class and people saying like, "Don't do it, it's awful." Like, don't listen to those people. It was fantastic. Now, it was a weird layout. This was an A330, and it was like on our side, there was single seats, and then the middles were twos, and then on the other side, some were singles and some were twos.
Hmm.
It was a weird layout, I've never seen it, and it was not as private as some newer business classes with, dividers and whatnot. So, yeah, it was kind of a weird layout. The seat was also, like the footrest was weird, it was just like a little ramp. Like, there was no little cubby where you put your feet.
Hmm.
So I could see how some people maybe, especially ones who fly business class quite often and are very picky, would say like, "Don't fly this. This is terrible." I was
Right.
so comfortable. Now it was a daytime flight. I did not try to sleep. So comfortable, but what really stood out for me was the service. Probably the best service on a flight I have had in years. They
Wow.
were so friendly. They remembered each person and, like, what language they spoke and would just speak to you in whatever language, which is impressive because usually I find
Yeah.
flight attend I mean, it's a lot to remember. I don't expect them to remember, like, I speak English and the person next to me speaks German or whatever. But they remembered all of that. The food was excellent, but, like, during dinner service, they brought the drink cart around 3 separate times between every, like, course. It was, "Could we get you something else to drink? What else could we get you?" Um, I mean, it was a long dinner service, one where they, like, serve you all the different courses. The food was overall really good. Um, then after that, they would come around with bottles of water. They came around with, like, little chocolate treats. Then later, they came around with ice cream. Um
Awesome.
it was I loved it. It was just
Good.
great, and they actually were acting like, "What can we do to help you?" And, like, when you're flying on a long flight and in the middle, the crew seems to kinda go away and take a break for a while, which is fine. I swear they didn't. Like, they were always there, like, "What can I" walking
Well,
through the aisles, "What can I bring you? What can I bring you?" People were getting up and getting cappuccinos, like, from the galley. They were having cappuccinos go out, all the time. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So I would love to fly Swiss again, and don't listen to
don't
those
listen to the
reviews.
haters.
Yeah, don't listen to the haters.
Well, that
It was
sounds
great.
awesome. And
I
we
will oh, the I'm sorry, the amenity kit was a little disappointing. It was a
why?
cool, like glasses case, which that part was neat because I like amenity cases that are not just pouches,
Yeah.
but it had like the toothbrush and the toothpaste, and like that was it. Oh, some socks. That's it.
It's a little
Like
weak on the.
it was a little weak. They had like if you wanted an eye mask, you could ask for one, which I guess makes sense. You know. So that was my only little complaint. But other than that,
Okay.
I really liked it. It was a really enjoyable flight.
And there's Swiss is rolling out some of their new business class as well. So that'll
Yeah,
be
I
something to
would
look out for
love
as
to
well.
try that. But even on the older, I would fly that again any day.
Yeah. Sounds great. And good thing you weren't sleeping because you got to take advantage of all that great service.
Mm-hmm.
We actually just sent out an award alert for the Swiss business class, and you can get them pretty much for that price from Chicago all along the East Coast, Boston, New York, DC. So if you have not signed up for our newsletter, do so you don't miss out on the next award alert.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's move on to our closing segment where we have one question here, and this one is from Instagram, and it says, what is the best credit card to use when traveling abroad? Katie, since you just got back from abroad, let's just send it right to you.
Absolutely. I use the Atmos Summit card exclusively when I am abroad now because it earns 3 points per dollar on any purchase outside of the US.
Crazy.
Like, you can't beat that. I used to use the Sapphire Reserve quite a bit because on a trip like this, I'm buying train tickets and eating out, and that would have earned 3 points per dollar and all that. It does not anymore. The Atmos Reward or the Atmos Summit card is my go-to. If you do not have that card, make sure you're using something without foreign transaction fees. That is super important. Double check because I have made the mistake of thinking that a card didn't have them and they did. So just double check before you are traveling. And keep in mind, especially in Europe, Amex can be very hard to use. As much as we talk about them here, it is one card. I always have an Amex with me, but I never use it when I'm traveling. Stick to Visa or MasterCard because you will get denied quite a bit if you're trying to use Amex. Venture X would be probably my second choice because it's going to be accepted everywhere and you earn 2 points per dollar. You don't have to worry about how is this going to code. So those would be my two suggestions.
Great tips. And for listeners, this is just a friendly reminder to go back to episode number 34, where we covered all of the end of the year checklists. So make sure you don't miss out on any of your yearly, quarterly, or biannual credits that are expiring at the end of the month.
Absolutely. And that is going to do it for us. We hope you enjoyed this. If you want to get all of this information in your inbox, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter, like Chris mentioned earlier. And be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you are watching or listening. And if you have questions or comments for us, you can reach us at podcast@upgradedpoints.com. We will see you next week.